Nightwing. I think I keep saying that and nothing else. Let's get into it. We are on to number 7 of our own episode recording, breaking into it. We've kind of been doing like one story arc and then an episode, and that will kind of stop going forward because, well, I've been looking on the Wikipedia of what was collected, and it's been a good way to go through. Right now, this collection would be 47 through 50, and then some other ones that I don't have, like Nightwing Secret Files and Origins, which was a one-shot, and the 80-page giant one-shot. I don't have either of those. I didn't think about reading them digitally. I saw that and went, well, that's fine. So I don't know what happens there, but that was collected into something, a graphic novel, a collection of story arc called Nightwing Big Guns. Came out in February of 2004, for those who are interested. These issues, September of 2000, October, November, December, and January of 2001. That's the time range that we're talking about. Here's the thing. They did another one after this. So next episode 8, they collected 52 and then 54 to 60 for Nightwing on the Razor's Edge. Then they kept going because this was several years later, right? 4+ years later. They kept releasing them every so often. They do a big jump. They got to 60, and then the next ones are like 101. And there's just a huge gap there where they didn't collect any. And then I was actually looking further down. This was just on Wikipedia. They actually wound up collecting them again, which is interesting. They did new edition trade paperbacks that collected the same issues that we're talking about. This one would have been volume 6, To Serve and Protect, which was collecting from 47 to 53, and that 80-page giant that I don't have. We're obviously not going through that because I don't have those ones. But anyway, it just means that the structure of what we've been doing will stop, and I will just have to start manually kind of reading and figuring out where storylines fit and how many issues will I read and then talk about. Today we are talking about 5 of them. And let's begin. Issue 47. This one looks different. That would be why. They had a guest penciler. Zurcher. Never heard that name before. Don't know who that is. This is The Quarry. Let's see. What do I remember about this one? I made some notes. Nightwing is, swinging into action and getting held up at gunpoint. He's wallpaper scummo. We... Oh, man. You guys remember those Three Musketeers bars from the early 2000s? I forgot about that. Anyway, the point is, he's doing his thing. And, oh, these are cops? I think I forgot that. See, I read these the other day, and if I don't, by the cliches, they're cops. They can't hit the broadside of a barn. Because he trained with them, right? Remember? Grayson was trying to become a cop. Doesn't like guns. Anyway, he's breaking in. He's trying to figure out where Chief Redhorn went. Last time we talked about that, he skipped town because somebody had a book with all the information on it, and that leaked. Was it Soames? Tad? Somebody? Oh, it was... No, Redhorn was the one who had the book. I'm trying to remember from last time. I should have watched what I recorded. Redhorn was a snitch then at that point. He wrote down everything in order to tie Blockbuster back in to get him, taken down. He was trying to be a good guy in the end, but then he skipped town because obviously Blockbuster would, crush his skull. Let's see. So I made the note about that. Nightwing is looking for him. I don't remember who died. Mac Arnott, I remember him from last time. They're talking. Grayson showed up. Oh, we get a little bit of... He's calling it in to Oracle and asking about... Oh, he's talking about Tad. That's what it is. I forgot. Didn't make a note about what was going on there, huh? No, I did. Nightwing is still looking for Tad, but there's nothing in the system, and you get an appearance of Batman. So, cool. Let's see. More about Mac Arnott taking over. Basically, he becomes the new chief of police. He takes the inspector post that he replaced, and that was Soames's old place. He's not good. He's corrupt, right? Oh, here we go. Here's more Soames blowing up a building. Let's see. That happens, and then we get Nightwing. Oh, we get Nightwing working on his car. The Nightbird is what they're calling it. I don't know if they named it before or if I'd missed it and I missed it, or if this is the first time they were like, hey, let's actually, give it a name of some kind. You got the Batmobile. You got the Nightbird. That actually sounds like a cool car name, just to be clear. Let's see. So the reason that happened was she checks Redhorn's phone records, caller ID, of course, and it's a payphone. I don't think caller ID would... Whatever. She finds out that it's a payphone. So who goes to investigate? Nightwing. Nightwing goes to investigate and just beats the snot out of Tad. He beats the ever-living out of him, just left, right, and center. All of this, and then to really tie it up to try to get him away because he's a murderer. Oh, is that who he murdered? That's why. Oh, it's tying together. Sometimes I make discoveries about the issues that I've read in the episode because I forget or I'm not paying attention. Anyway, yeah, so that would be who murdered the police officer the last time. Tad and Nightwing teamed up. Tad murdered that guy. Nightwing was at the funeral. He knew him as a police officer. He's a murderer, and Nightwing wants to see justice. So, he goes through all this, and then he goes even further, ties him up, calls it in, and pretends to be Tad on the phone, confessing to a crime. And he's like, hold on, who's going to believe that he tied himself up, called and confessed to a crime? And he went, well, the cops have other matters. They're going to bend a few rules. He knows. And he's not wrong. Anyway, that's what happens. That's what's going on with Tad. It's definitely the last we've seen about him. Because, that's how that works. And that's 47. Interesting. I liked it. It definitely looked different. It had a bit of a different feel to it because they had the guest penciler in here. But overall, pretty cool. You got a bit of... It was definitely a good introduction. These come out monthly, or they did in the year 2000. So... you would assume most people are following along. But for me, jumping in, it's been, I only read comics. I sit down and read them about once a month. And that's why it's actually a good refresher to kind of get back to it. 48. Now we get into why they collected these ones. The Sylph, Part 1. Slender Thread. You've taken everything. What more could you want? Dun, dun, dun. So that's cool. This lady here. Lots of red ribbon lady, huh? That's what we have on the cover. Nightwing's all tied up, as usual. We have a lady covered in red ribbon here. And Nightwing swinging into action, as he does. Oh, neat. He chases her out the window. She takes off. Or no, she's already there. I believe she's going. She throws that guy out the window. Right? I don't think they actually show it. It's just, yeah. Oh, no. Okay, there it is. See that a little bit? She throws him out the window. And then so she's up on the building. Nightwing goes in after her or goes towards it, and she leaps and flies all the way down. And this is interesting. he mentions this multiple times, and I think even in the last episode that we did, in some of the issues, D-cell cables. That's what they have. They use special billionaire playboy tech that decelerates them. They decelerate as they're climbing, so they don't like slam into the pavement, because that would be bad. So let's see. That happens. Nightwing realizes the situation, or what he thinks is the situation at that point. We get a bit of Tad here. He's just being investigated, and then oh, he completely confesses to everything, thinking that I don't we'll get to this later, but they specifically, maybe like what he said was that his parents left him behind the wheels of a city bus on Christmas Eve to like get run over. Named Tad, from Tadpole at the orphanage. We'll see about that. Anyway, continuing on, we get a bit of good luck for Grayson as he's returned home to a answering machine, those things. He's going to be a police officer. They let him in. And a bit of not at all paying attention because he's so focused on himself to his landlady, who makes some funny comments to see that he's clearly not paying attention. He is entirely focused on becoming a police officer, which has happened. But how has it happened? Someone is pulling the strings. Also, now we jump here. Blockbuster. In bed. Dit. I guess that is supposed to be the noise of the beeps of the heart machine, the heart monitoring. He is alive, but maybe not so much. And somebody's shown up. Soames was Torque. Is that his name? Because they torqued his head around? Yeah, I think so. Anyway, he confronts him. He goes in to kill him, sees the position that he's in, and goes, well, you know what? Actually, this is better. You'll be... like... that definitely, in the history of comics, has never turned back in anything. We'll see. Anyway, you know what's coming. Good Lord, is this all... Did I skip some, or did they decide that they wanted to just slam in? Nope. They did like a mini 1, 2, double-sided pages, constant. Good Lord, it's just keep going. I thought I complained about advertisements today being annoying. That's full page. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pages in the middle of a comic of all ads. At least I guess it's good that you can skip through it, except I think there are ads throughout the rest of it. Anyway, what else did I write down was interesting here? He left him as it is. Soames found Blockbuster. Nightwing is here. We get introduced to his new Sergeant Amy. Officer or Sarge, and Amy is fine. And she doesn't like him because she thinks that someone has put him in here, pulled the strings from up top in order to get him basically on the job immediately, which she's not wrong. Anyway, back to Nightwing. He's doing some investigations on the ribbon to try to figure out it's some kind of crazy high tech. It's really interesting that they interwoven synthetics, a polymer unlike he's ever seen, flexible and strong, as I read all over the page here. Anyway, basically I can tell you between all the issues here, what's happening is that some kind of like extremely thin material that is super strong, made of some kind of crazy technology where she can have like miles of it wrapped around her and it doesn't weigh or feel like anything. And also she can control it. We'll get to that later too. Look, more ads. Look at all the red ribbon. I bet they had a fun time doing all the ink and coloring on this. This is cool. So anyway, he figures out who she's targeting because she's targeting the same kind of people, like millionaires or billionaires. And so she heads after in order to find out. He catches her on the scene looking through some kind of paperwork. Not entirely sure what. Keep leaving dead millionaires lying around. Maybe they're millionaires, not billionaires. But anyway, yeah. I studied that stuff she's wearing. It's micro thin. There could be miles of it wrapped around her. So he catches her in the act, calls her a murderer, is going to stop her. She can't have that, jumps out the building. He goes after her, gets caught up, like we saw, charged with static electricity, and clings like glue. So he gets all wrapped up. Dun, da, da. She cuts his cable. He's falling. He's a mummified red ribbon now. He's trying to get free. He's got a couple blades up his sleeve. Hits the top of a truck, bounces off, lands down, basically not free, still very much tied up, still trying to get free, and he's on the middle of a highway. Kind of, how about an ending like that? I believe, let's see, my note here was just hot damn, what an issue. Coming off the last one, which was mostly talking and not so much the action, had a lot of action in this one. Pretty cool. 49. More of the Sylph and Nightwing. Scroll down in my notes here. How is he going to get away? Well, he just kind of rolls. Well, he goes under it, wraps up onto the truck. I don't know what part of the truck that would be, but wraps up some of that so then he can skirt his way out and under, causing a bit of an accident. But, you know. My note here was, is he a billionaire? I'm sure Bruce is, but, you know, he did leave him some money. I'm sure he didn't leave him $1 billion, but, you know, he specifically talks about how he calls her saran wrapped. Killed 2 billionaires, leaves him to play in traffic, and he doesn't plan on being number 3. Now, the way that is phrased, yes, the third victim, but it sure does seem like a third billionaire. And I don't think Nightwing is quite that set off. I'm sure the inheritance that Bruce's parent, you know, or that Nightwing's parents left him through Bruce was not that much. But anyway, he survives the highway. He gets out, cutting everything off of him very quickly, getting out of all the ribbons, and then lands at an Irish restaurant on the awning. Am I going to sneeze? No. Okay. So let's see. My next notes, we continue moving on, and he talks to, I think this may be the first time I've seen him. Obviously, he'd be featured more in Batman comics, but Loosish. Can I speak? Loosish. Nope. Mr. Fox. Can I really? Loosish. No. Lucius. What the hell is his name? Anyway, you know, I've seen him. I know him because of the Batman movies. I haven't read that many Batman comics. I've read a few here or there, so I know of him because of that. He handles the more business side of things of Wayne Enterprises, right? Or whatever it's actually called. And now he shows up for work. We get back to his doing his police work. They're going through something else. Oh, that's right. Soames is in the police chief's chair. That happens. We get a little bit more information on Mac Arnott, the guy who's taking up, and now Soames. Oh, that's right. He mentions here he's got a new gun that he hasn't tried, and he's anxious to. We'll see more of that later. They're doing a stakeout. Yeah, that's what I thought. They're both trying to figure out, like, you're one of them. She thinks that he's a crooked cop. There's the police force in Bloodhaven is so corrupt that she knows that pulling strings means that that happens often enough. That's why it's not so strange, and she immediately knows what's going on. The strings are being pulled to get someone corrupt into the position of more police officers, which is how it usually happens. She's one of the good ones, but obviously she doesn't know anything about Bryson. He can't get things done. There we go. He gets word back from Fox about the type of material and who was related to that, like the company-wise, the holdings, who owns the patent. Partnership of 2 textile firms. These people met with accidents. That leaves somebody as the sole holder. Obviously, she's going after him next. That's what Nightwing figures out. What is up with this? Early 2000s, But messaging, why does each one of these have its own box? Or is this one long box and whatever's happening in the middle of this message of the one behind doesn't matter? Or each one, like, why does this one pop out to the side? The technical aspect of it bothers me, trying to understand how they figure it out. Anyway, let's see. He catches up and gets there ahead of time in order to learn some context. Her name, the Sylph, is actually Sylvan Schofield, daughter of the guy who created a Killeron? Maybe? The cloth wrap that she uses, right? Sylph. Sure. And then she shows up. You can see already, look at all the red. Yeah, this is happening. She shows up to take him down. Exactly what's going on, but Nightwing will have a little fight. Doing that. Okay, this is cool. Yeah. So let's see. I read through these pages and then recapped them afterwards. Fight, fight, fight. The cloth is a living part of her, is said at some point in here with like how she's doing it. She uses it to grab dumbbells and just throw them around like it's nothing, and using it as like it's a living part of her. And it's crazy, this technology. Everything that's happening. They're in the weight room, slamming stuff around, all of this, cool artwork, cool of what's happening here. And then she goes out the window, and then there's a noise. He knows that sound. He goes to look. I didn't see this coming at all. What? What? Yeah, so, dead. That's the end of that arc, apparently. Didn't expect that. She jumped off and like snapped her own neck. Not sure if it was an accident, but he made a promise. Made sure that this Drexel faces justice for the theft. Finally, he goes to sleep. He talks about how he never gets enough sleep because obviously he's double going with this stuff. Oh yeah, okay, so he's got to get down to the station. He gets the call as a police officer, as Grayson. He gets the call to come on down in because there's a hostage situation at the police office, station. Somebody's being held hostage. It's Mac Arnott and Soames, or Torque, leading us into 50, the extra-sized issue. Hold on to your butts. It's all going down. We just go straight into it. Gigantic explosion. Really cool. Soames. They talk about, right here, right? Dudley Soames, these days known as Torque, armed with a piece of artillery that would make Superman think twice. He picked it up from his inner gang pals from Metropolis, and who knows where they got it. It literally is not of this world, if I understand correctly. Yep. Try to take the shot. I don't think it works. Oh, they do a flashbang? That's right. Oh, he does a flashbang. He knows that they're about to shoot him. He knows. He used to be a police officer. He used to be that inspector that Mac Arnott took over for. And so he knows the tactics. And they're going to shoot him with the snipers. And instead, he does a flashbang so that they can't. Let's see. Grayson is going in with a badge. Oh, he doesn't actually have one, but he's going in with a gun. Obviously, rookie on the force. There's no way that they would let him go through, but they take volunteers, and well, he goes in. He volunteers, puts on the vest. They give him like an MP5. Rookie on the force. I understand desperate times call for desperate measures, but that made me laugh. I was like, really? All right. Anyway, I believe we jump here. That's right. Dee-doo, dee-doo, dee-doo. No, that's making different noises. Dee-dee-dee-dee-doot. Dee-doo-doo. Well, anyway, I guess his heart is going all kinds of crazy. That's not really the important part of this panel now, is it? So he is currently alive, despite all the problems he had with his disease. And his mother died while he was in surgery. So yeah, that happens. Oh yeah, this is important. I have to find parts to like skip over to not show the entire comic, but this is real important. Nightwing obviously just left, and they come in to get the body, and there's no body. I didn't see that coming. I didn't see the hanging coming. I didn't see that, and I didn't see this either, which is interesting. I like where this is going. It's pretty cool. They actually got me on that one. I mean, I see some things coming. It's, comics. Sometimes you can see it. Sometimes you can't. This was one of those times. Anyway, let's see. That's right. Grayson almost immediately. So we go from like he's super excited. He's going in this time on the side of, the legal side with justice. Everything's happening here, and then just like, oh, I'm restricted by my badge, that he doesn't actually have a badge yet. He's still, rookie, and instead he brought a backpack Nightwing suit that he just changes it. He just strips down. That's what like this guy is going in was the I think he's the leader, right? We get a bit of that. Who is this guy? I forget, but I definitely remember. Did I make a note? The commander. I think he's a commander, a police commander. Is that a rank in the police? Anyway, he strips down. He turns into Nightwing so that he can take through it, because that went real quick. I guess just to use the front door, he was a police officer, and then very quickly realized, oh, I can't just do things, the way I would normally do it. So he stops doing it that way and immediately changes into Nightwing. But, the suit is too... He nearly sweated to death with his Nightwing suit under the uniform. So instead, he has backpack Nightwing suit. What? I don't even think I saw him with a backpack. No, wait, there's some straps. Maybe he is wearing a backpack. Yeah, no, he does. Okay, yeah, no. All right, that's fair. The little details. He had one. Anyway, he's gone insane, Soames, right? He's trying to, let's see. Oh, wait, actually, we jump here to a different storyline. So this is going on. He catches up to him. It's Nightwing time. They're about to go into it. It's gun and everything. And then we jump to Tad. Tad gave them a full confession, thinking that they would see that he's, a hero and let him free. Not what happens at all. They slap the cuffs on him. Back to Blockbuster. The transplant was a success, but he's lost his mother. Dun, dun, dun. Dun, dun, dun. Oh, that's right. Because he owns basically the police force. He owns everything that's happening, and now he's upset about Soames. So that's happening. Let's see here. Nightwing has to save Arnott, which is the crooked cop, from Soames, the former crooked cop. Oh, that's right. Okay, so where does it start up here? I made a note when I realized it later on, and I forgot. Oh, yeah, he's got like the secretary who's got a cop who starts shooting at Nightwing, and then I think he just straight up murders her. Him with his gun, responding. So that might be the first instance of it, and I didn't pick up on it until later. So like this stuff happens. We get this whole, responding. It does it again, and I should have picked up on it because look at the way that they outline the text there as opposed to that. The gun is talking. The gun is some kind of piece of alien technology or something that almost has like a control of its own. He's got to let Soames get away so he can jump out the window in order to save Arnott, who's been pushed out the window, tied up in a chair. He's got to catch him and, also stay himself with the D-cell cables that are all the rage now in this stuff. Let's see. It explodes. What explodes? He saves Arnott. Arnott's alive. Overload imminent. Yeah, his gun goes all hot. Red, overload, lights on fire. He's trying to clear the street. Everything that's happening. Soames gets shot by the commander. Yeah, just straight to the chest. Shotgun blast from the commander. The gun's flying down. The gun is this just on fire, and then it explodes. That's really cool. This is cool artwork. This is a cool panel. Giant explosion, and he's down there. So that's happening. It exploded on impact. Then he quickly jumps back over into... Whoops. He jumps back over You guys are not going to believe this. He got lost on his way up. His clothes are all torn up. He's got all of this. So he makes up some excuse. The commander definitely doesn't believe him. He gets, chewed out for what was happening, and none of it happened. He got lost as soon as he was in there and missed all the action. Yeah, commander doesn't believe a word of it. But anyway, we jump back first to Soames is alive because he had a vest on. I thought Soames was dead. I missed that, but you can see it. He's got a vest. This is not his first rodeo. Shotgun blast to the chest takes him down, but he's not actually, hurt, apparently. Anyway, they put him in a cell, and guess who is his cellmate? It's Tad. Dun, dun, dun. So now the two of them are locked up together, which is interesting. I have a feeling this will be different going forward. I don't know. We'll see what happens. I haven't gotten to that point yet. But anyway, back there, he confronts him about the strip search or the strip act. Followed you about it. He's watching him. He doesn't know what is going on, but he knows something is going on because obviously that doesn't make any sense. You've got the rookie who steps up to go into the bad situation, this hostage situation, and then he follows in there and he just finds all of his clothes, his police uniform laying behind. That's weird, right? And then the explosion, and, they may have seen Nightwing. I actually don't know if he saw Nightwing or not, but he gets in there and takes it down. He doesn't know, but, I'm starting to rethink this career move. And that is issue 50. And then issue 51. I didn't plan that the way it went out of focus. That was cool. This comic's seen better days. Yeah. That's okay. I think I found that one and realized it and paid $3 to get a much nicer version. But I'm going to leave that one in. It's protective. Because why not? Tad's story. This is what we have now. We're on to Tad's story. This whole thing I'm just going to run down very quickly is a very different of an issue. Tad. It's his story. He's in the cell and he writes down his story. He talks about, he's a superhero, but he didn't get it from all these other things. They just put his face, which also that looks like Tad, right? Young kid, blonde hair, short. That's the Tad we've known. He doesn't really look that looks like a grown man in every one of these. I mean, maybe that's why is that he's imitating more grown. I don't actually know how old Green Lantern is, or I don't know who is this supposed to be a Spider-Man? Obviously Superman. Anyway, it just looks kind of different. He talks about his origin. He was a child. This is where I got a little I just realized as I was reading through where they talked about his parents leaving him behind behind the wheels of a city bus. It's not actually what happens. And so we get it here. If this is the true one, I can't trust anything that Tad says, but he came from an abusive household. His dad, there was a whole thing here where guys would show up and he would sell them things that he didn't steal, but he has people working for him for steal. So he's the fence, I suppose, in this situation. He has a network of thieves going out robbing people. Then they bring it to him, and he's the one who handles the buying and selling process to other people. But, busted by the cops in this instance. However, he's out of jail always. It's a real quick in and out. And then his mom is mad, but not because he did bad things, but because he got caught and the cops would come back and cause more of a hassle for them. Tad was just reading comics through all of this, completely ignored as a child. He grew up, he stole himself. He went to steal a comic because his entire life is comics. The store's owner, the pharmacist's son, he also can't I appreciate the attention to detail. He can't spell. He doesn't have any kind of education. So you get things very incorrectly, like him writing down his story, the pharmacist spelled with an F and things like that. But anyway, rather than beat him up or anything, they just humiliated him and took off his pants and made him run home for stealing the comic. Okay, that's an interesting. More stuff. Comics. He understands. He starts getting a warped view of justice, that the cops are corrupt and his dad is bad. He rats That's Tad ratting on his dad. So, note tied to a rock, smash a window. He rats the police, spelled with an S. Yeah. Anyway, so he lets the other bad guys know. However, you know, an interesting like flash between reality and the comics that he reads with what's happening there. They just pour cement and put him in a barrel and throw him in the river for being a rat because he was working with the cops to take down this ring of bad guys. I don't know. He's still not great in any way or shape. And then they arrest his mother anyway as an accessory. I don't really I guess, yeah, sure. Anyway, Tad winds up as a child going into foster care, so technically the thing, but I'm pretty sure that his name wasn't because of Tadpole. Did they actually talk about his name? Yeah, no, that is his last name. It has nothing to do with the beer brand like they talked about before. So either they weren't on the same page, the story creators, or they were, he's been telling lies, which again, can't trust him. So yeah, that is definitely his last name, but nothing about Tad. His name is. I actually don't know if they mention it at any point during any of this. It's possible that his name isn't. That is his last name, but it's possible that, or maybe he's lying about it. Wait, maybe his story, because they couldn't find anything in the system for him when they were looking. I'm talking about Oracle not being able to find anything. Maybe he did take that name. Maybe Tad from Tadpole, and maybe the Ryerstad is a beer brand, and he's telling the story like that is his name. I don't know. There's so much here to unpack with like whether or not he's lying or if it makes sense. He was terrible, obviously. So, he already has a warped view of justice and is kind of a brute and violent. And so, foster home to foster home, ripped up the comics, so he smashed all the plates. Throughout all of this, it's just comics. He wants to be a hero. Here's where we really this is Tad? What? He gets out on his own. He becomes close enough to an adult that he just leaves. The foster home doesn't care because he was a problem. He sees, justice needs to happen. And he smashes them with a shovel as they were robbing a Santa Claus. Maybe going a little too far there, but we're really setting up his warped view of justice, and the only way to deal with criminals is to break them. And then he turns even further by assuming everyone's a criminal, and so he can get cash by, yeah. So then he knows that he wants to be a hero, and this is how he has to there's a lot of work to be done. Perverts and killers and miscreants were running wild. It was a war against evil, and I was a soldier. So he suddenly gets himself into shape. Again, look at this. Does this look like a kid? I just, for a second, I was like, what is happening? This guy looks like a 40-year-old man. But anyway, this is how he comes back to it. He also tries to maybe recruits, heads to, once again, early 2000s, I suppose. That definitely Bloodhaven has a Nazi population that Nightwing has dealt with. But yeah, so he joins up with them, right? Realizes how terrible that is. But he uses them for some connections. They were good for a few things, a little payback in their name, and then he rats them to the cops anyway, gets them taken care of. So, it's hard to feel bad because there are some things that he did right. That's one thing. But then there's 99% of him just literally beating people to a pulp, and that's not cool. They're talking about the Joker on TV. So that's happening from, up in Gotham. And then... yeah, and then you get a bit of him really just going full on, assuming everyone, what we've seen before. Remember there was that guy who was picking up ice cream for the kids, and he's like, you're a pervert, and then just beats the dude almost to death. Well, same kind of thing. Just immediately all he sees in the world is terrible criminals, and his view of justice is to just leave them bleeding in the dirt. And then we cut back to Now, okay. Have me in solitaire. They say is protect me from the cons. I know it is protect the cons from me. What is that? You're not locked in here with me, or you're not locked. I'm not locked in here with you. You're locked in here with me from Watchmen. Anyway, they do not know my real name. I'm not here because of who my parents were, so they don't know his real name. So I'm still trying to piece it together myself after reading it this morning, in preparation. The whole thing really just kind of summarized. I mean, I don't know how much new I learned. I don't know how much I can trust was accurate because it was being told by him. That's not really his name. His name is not Tad Brierstad. I don't know who he really is then. If his name isn't Tad, no one really knows. Both his parents, I mean, his dad is dead. His mom is locked up somewhere, if she's still alive after all these years. We know really nothing about him except he's got a very warped view of justice and how violence is what the end result has to be, and he's going to start with Nightwing. Completely irrelevant to the plot that we were reading from the other story arc, but that is Tad's story. It's interesting. It was definitely a different pace. It kind of summarized, and I guess that's really the best way to do it, is that leading into, maybe we're actually going to finish up Tad's story at some point. Like, I don't think Tad is still an ongoing character that they develop for 150 issues or whatever happens. So at some point, he's actually going to get taken down. Is this it? I don't think so. I would say maybe he'd actually be left in jail if not for the fact that he's in a cell with Soames, and Soames is obviously not done. So at some point we'll wrap it up, and it'll be interesting to see if we learn anything from this point as to what was actually accurate. Maybe it was all. Maybe he is actually telling the truth. He did do some confession. He's not exactly that smart. I don't know, man. He's very complex. I didn't really care for Tad all that much before. I just kept going, oh, Tad. But now they're just kind of recapping and then giving you more to the understanding of why Tad is what he is. I should probably read through this to see if they, yeah. Do they talk more about, I wouldn't be surprised if you were right about a Tad/Dick rematch. That Tad is one sick puppy. Yeah. Yep. There's a lot here. I'm not going to read through all of it, but I am interested in looking through this stuff. It's a shame the digital comics that I read don't have that in there. I probably would read through all that at that point, but yeah. Oh, what's happening next? All right, announcements. Totally Batman Turning Points not only examines in painstaking detail one of the most important alliances of the Batman, sets our stage for the first major plot line of 2001, Turning Points, and then a bunch of people who worked on it. An event within the books. Batman dies. What? Hang on to your hats as we present an event within the books, namely this issue. Batman dies. Running in all the Bat books next month, save Azrael, which major things are already happening already. Oh, now that happens. I've talked with my brother enough about comics. There is a point where Batman... Well, no, Batman already did step down and Nightwing took over. When does Batman die? I don't know. I'm not reading Batman comics, I'm reading Nightwing comics. Now, there will be some overlap, I assume, between them, but we'll figure that out next time. I'll read, I guess, the next story arc, because that'll be the last one that we have, and then we'll just start kind of picking up and reading 4 or 5 issues, or however long it takes, because this was still 40-something minutes of recording time. That's it, everybody. I read it. I'm doing it. I'm making it through. 7 episodes. How long has it been? I actually don't know when the first one was done. It's probably been more than 6 months. I started making notes about this in October of 2023, so this is like a 2-year project, probably, or 3. Oof, I gotta pick up the pace. Maybe I need to start doing these more often. I still have 100 issues to go, but we've made it through 50. So we're a third of the way there of reading all my old Nightwing issues that I collected and never read. It's pretty cool overall. Really having a good time. See you guys next time.